Hello, this is Kyle with Kirksville Web Design. We're going to take a look at doing another quick site audit, and this is the next website I've pulled up for a UX user experience designer. So let's start here. We're going to pull up the detailed Chrome extension, which shows us what we have going on here as far as the metadata is concerned. We have a title of the UX designer's name, Dennis Isaac, and a short description so far. So we can get a kind of a ballpark here of the word count, of the headings that we're going to be looking at, and links and images and so forth. So this is a handy little add-on or extension that you can add to your Chrome. Will help you along. I'll also enable here highlighting headings so we can review these as we work our way down the page. So first of all, what do we have is a very prominent H1 heading at the top of the page, which is what you would expect from a user experience standpoint. Dennis knows what he's doing, and from a crawling standpoint for search engine crawlers. So UX that stand out, I think he means UX that stands out, or you could say standout UX. Just a little bit about the English phrasing there. But yeah, we immediately know this is about maybe stunning UX design. I think you could add a little bit more in this H1 to flush that out, because just right now we only have a keyword of basically UX. And Dennis has been tweaking the content and the design of this. So actually I kind of like the previous H1 tag. I don't have it available for what he had before, but it did say more of that he was designing UX for mobile apps and so forth. So I felt that was a bit more descriptive and a better H1 tag before. But right now we just have UX that stand out. A little bit of copy below, and then a nice graphic here showing some of his work. So next we get down the page to an H4 heading. So we jumped all the way from H1 to H4. And actually this isn't too much of a nitpick here anyway, because there's not much content here to speak of, or it's not really much of a heading anyway. Just to show the tools and technologies that he's familiar with and that he uses in his line of work. So that's fine. I was concerned about these. These are not images, but are SVG files. So, how does of course, as the visitor of this website, I understand that he works with HTML5 and CSS3 and Tailwind and so forth, but I don't think there are any titles or descriptions, for these. So Google needs to know. It would be nice, if they knew what these particular products were that he's using. So you could go into more detail about those tools that he utilizes and his expertise with them, maybe on another page. But for now, I'll kind of just ignore this. So we go from H1 then up above to our first heading 2 tag, H2 tag, UI designs for startups and medium-sized companies. I like that. That's good. Shows again. There's quite a bit of a few keywords in there about what he's doing and who he's marketing to, his audience. That's good. And then I also like here that he has 3 bullet points. I did inspect the code here just to verify that these are in fact registered as bullet points. For these 3 check marks here. So functional, UX, and so forth. Great. Nice little concise section here. Moving on, we get to another H4 tag, and this one just says previously, which I found a bit confusing at first, and then I realized I think this means like his previous work experience. So maybe adding that here would be helpful. And even I think instead of making this the heading, I would make another H2 heading, just talk about more about how he has experience in as a UX lead. So use that and write you have a little bit of sort of statistics alongside of those, but more copy about that role that he has fulfilled before and his experience. So that would be a nice opportunity. Bump that up to H2 and talk more about that, perhaps adding some subheadings below it. That could be a really powerful section, especially if he doesn't have more of a bio going on elsewhere. All right, and then we got another graphic here. Is he using? He's got set up for an alt text, so he's going to get that in there, I assume, pretty soon. And then these sections here where we have an H2 and several H3s below it. I like this. For the layout and the content structure, totally makes sense. So he's talking about UX, functional UX designs, and then 4 subheadings under that. That's good stuff. And he kind of follows that model for the next few sections down, and which is great. I mean, he's talking more about this, and so so we could talk. Maybe you could bring that under this UX lead previous work experience, because these are projects he's talking about. He's talking about his experience and his expertise further. So maybe organizing those under that heading then, or leaving them here as H2 and H3. That's fine too, I think. And then we're heading toward the bottom of the page, still on the home page. Testimonials, which is an H3, so technically you're nesting it under graphics and front-end code on demand, but this should be a new heading. Bring that up to H2. And then 3 cards below, and your client names are headings. I don't really like that you're using client names. I mean, those as keywords, it's kind of a little bit bizarre. So I would actually create like a project title for each of these. Would be a nice opportunity to have this H2 tag here and the project, like project cards, these 3 examples, and giving those a heading and talking about them, as you have the testimonial below. I think that would be a nice opportunity. And so forth. Got some more reviews. Great. Frequently asked questions. Always good, bonus content, to add an FAQ section at the end of pages. So great. Got that as H2. And then each of these I would promote to H3, just to kind of make sure that those are highlighted as headings as well. So there's an opportunity there too. Okay, so that is the home page. We've reached the end. And let me go ahead and pull up SEO on-page SEO checklist, and this is an example of one checklist that I've borrowed from Gotch SEO with Nathan Gotch over there. He's done an excellent job. No need to reinvent the wheel. He's created a nice template, and so that's what I'm showing off here, his work. So it gives you these ideas of what you should be doing with keywords in the URL. I mean, I think we're just at a home page, so it's not going to be a directory or a URL there. Keyword in your title, it's just his name at the moment, right here, the Dennis Isaac. So, we could add some more about, that he's a UX designer, UX lead, where he does this work if he wants to kind of localize it more. So putting some keywords in the title there would be nice. His description is kind of non-existent at the moment still. Keyword in the H1. Remember, we only had what in the H1? UX is basically our only keyword there. So definitely an opportunity to be more descriptive in that H1. And again, it's still the home page. So what are you essentially going to try to rank with the home page? Are you going to go straight for that UX design keyword in that page? Is that going to be your silo for tackling that keyword, or will you just kind of make it about Dennis and about his experience and his expertise? I would argue, for the homepage, just to make it about Dennis Isaac and focus on that as your keyword, and use another page to talk about more of the what we're talking about, the UX work in specifics. So, the first page is pretty much an overview. It's a home page, it's a landing page. So view it as such. And then, is a keyword in the first 100 words of content and copy. He's going to be talking about user experience engineer, good software engineering experience, it's good stuff. Mobile and web interfaces and those apps. So very good. He's getting there. Another thing I wanted to highlight here is what I've been talking about with content structure, and I felt this was a really great image for this on the hierarchy of headings. You've heard me in these last 2 episodes, of these site audits and how headings ought to be working in relation to one another. It's essentially bullet points that are your nesting items and headings and subheadings. So, don't throw a fruit from this H3. Don't throw the mango into, under veggies here under pumpkins or something like that. Think of how these are working in relation to one another, headings, subheadings, sort of like a book and its chapters and its headings and subheadings within that. So think of it almost like a textbook in that way, for math or English or something. Those are usually very well organized into those headings and subheadings. And so this is a really cute and helpful image from Mangools. Okay, so that is what we wanted to discuss today. I will just leave it the homepage today. The other pages are still a little bit of a work in progress here from Dennis. He's talking about individual case studies, which is great, and he uses some of the same layouts and structure that we've seen before. So some nice some room for improvement, sure, but he's doing some nice things for moving these ideas forward, and I think that's a good start. Nice job, Dennis. And so that brings us to the end of this site audit episode. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Again, Kyle from Kirksville Web Design, and thanks for all your support. Really appreciate it. Bye.